Hey everybody, Vader Saber 1984, also known as that drunk guy and his bullshit opinion, coming to you with something a little bit more personal, not so much as the past few things, but something a little history, a little wrestling, and all about brotherhood. So, in ordinary fashion, grab yourself a drink or two. Grab yourself a smoke. Disclaimer, kids, these are not good for you. Grab you a candy cigarette. Oh, wait, that was me in the 80s. So. Grab on into your butts, your balls, your boobs, whatever you got, because here we go. All right. So real quick, this is gonna be strictly about one thing because it's been weighing really heavy on my heart. Uh, you know how you go to school and you have your clique of friends. You got your boys, your girls, whatever. You get your three besties, you got your two besties, you got your ride or dies, whatever they call it. Yeah. So, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, that shit was pretty heavy, You had to have your clique. And out of nowhere, it became, and still is, and always will be, the story of the triple entente. Now, I know you're like, what the hell is an entente? Well, it's a derivative off of I think it's a Spanish and an Italian version, entente, which basically the derivative of is group. Okay, triple, tres, three, meaning, do the math. So, this is something that I have lived, breathed, and died for the past 24 years. All right, this is 20, 23, 24 years has been my family, my ride or dies, my go-to. Every member of this faction, I have had an extended family, lived with, bled with, cried with, dined with, you name it. So it wasn't intentional of how it began. No, no, no. It was all accidental. You ever see somebody that you just judge a book by its cover and you just don't like them no matter what? You're like, you know what? You're one of those people that I'm just like, oh, God, you ain't that bad. But I am. So, well, that's how this all started. And here is the story. So, back in the days in the hallways of South Texas, Seguin, walking through Seguin High School, I ended up going through the hallways and seeing a guy that, yeah, I had an accounting class with. And we sat a few seats down from. Yeah, okay. It was like third day, fourth day, fifth day, somewhere, maybe even second week. But see him walking past me as I go down the hallway to my locker, and I see him, and I'm just like that. That's straight, honestly. Like, you know what? Eh. And little did I know that that right there would change my life. Now, that's one member of the three. The other member, I used to walk down the hallway and see the exact same thing of this just bigger than life, oh my God, walking with one of my dearest friends that I grew to love and respect, and like, oh God, she's a midget and she's hanging around. Oh, hell, it's gotta be all about the size, right? Just judging book by its cover. Hated this motherfucker like no end. Like, what is she doing? She's gonna ruin her life. She is going to ruin her life. Yeah. Anywho, so going back after that one, going to class and they say, did you flip me off? Tell you what, we'll save that story for another time. Better yet, I will get both of those men on a podcast and they can tell you their story about it. So, we're going to skip along a little bit. However, come to find out, sitting in accounting class, which we had access to the internet back in the days of America Online, all that shit. Yeah, how old am I? Anywho, come to find out, we both had a love for wrestling. Okay, and this man, none other than my dearest brother, the MFP, the motherfucking Punisher, who ended up was in my class, and I was like, well, I like a little bit of WWF back in the day. It's like, yeah, but I really love WCW because at that time, it was all about the NWO. It was all about the cliques, the red and the black and the white, and the WCW, and it was that kind of thing. In high school, I always rolled solo. I didn't have any boys. I just, whatever. Anywho, I found somebody that was like, really? Let me show you some real wrestling. And to this day, I still credit this man for showing me real wrestling, which was EC fucking W. Showed me real wrestling before they went to WCW, before they went to WWF. My boy didn't know it at the time, showed me. He's like, yeah, watch this. This is before YouTube. So, but we sat there and we talked, and then that turned into all right, well, you wrestle too? Oh, yeah. You? Yeah. All right. Let's put you to the test. Let's do it. Let's get in the ring. And we did. And then from that moment on, it turned into a family, a bro. It turned into what the Entente, the Triple Entente, would become. It was the origination of two men. Now, getting back to the origin of the Triple Entente. Now, you have a lot of wrestling factions back in the day. You got the Four Horsemen. I mean, you've got DX, you've got the NWO, you got the NWO Red and Black, you got, tag teams, you got this, you got that. You have so many. But when you are a teenager and all you love is wrestling, we got to have our own faction. We got to have our own clique. Well, we're just a tag team. Can't have a faction. This is me speaking. And in his genius, he said, no, I see four but we have two. But the best number is three. Now, why? Because what's in between? That one right there. Well, I did that in reverse that way. But we also really, really looked up to the triple threat of ECW, which was Bam Bam Bigelow, Shane, and also Candido. The triple threat was like, damn, they ruled ECW. So, hey, we can't do the Four Horsemen. Can't say the triple threat. We gotta have our own. And he said, how about the triple entente? I said, well, there's only two of us. He goes, that's okay. We don't need three. We're that badass. We don't need three. And for a long time, it just irked me. And I was like, oh, respect. We're that badass, man. But it always irked me poetically and lyrically, like, and cinematically. You can't have a triple entente with only two people. So, pitched a couple ideas, and eventually, that big giant bastard, who I hated walking down the hallway, was a neighbor of mine. Heard some stories about me after I got kicked out of school, and saw me on my off time doing crazy stuff by myself. And well, eventually he goes, hey, aren't you that crazy guy? Yes, I am. You do that backyard wrestling shit, don't you? Yes, I do. Come here. Let me tell you something. Jim Carrey in Living Color. Fire Marshal Bill. Let me show you something. So, eventually, stories here and there start working. Then we start putting on matches, and we start having a good time. You know what? No matter what, first creator, the MFP. No, don't know him. Don't care. Don't know. No, Absolutely against it. And I'm sitting there like, I know these two men. They are good people. They both love wrestling. I can marry this together. And I did. Eventually, I did my best, and we became the triple entente. We had the big 6'5", 280 pounds. We had the 6'1", 200 pounds, or whatever he was, and me, itty bitty little guy, the little in the middle, weighing a buck 65. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell how it became. The only fulcrum in that family, in that relationship at that time that began was just me, because I was friends with him and friends with him, and that's how it works. And over time, you get older, you get out of school, you go to college or whatever you do, and shit happens. But the one thing I can say that tore everything apart was bullshit in women. Quite frankly, just bullshit in women. That's it. Whether you share a woman, whether you know one, whether, it's a pissing contest when you're that age. And it's stupid. It's penile. It's retarded. But now, here I am, as an older man, looking back at the situation, and I'm really contemplating because there's a lot going on up here, which they both live down there. Well, down there, technically, 8 hours away. They both live down there. But I am contemplating the idea that, you know what needs to happen? The two people, the two men that have stood by my side, thick and thin, taken care of me, helped me, loved me, protected me, uh, quite frankly, been the best men of my life, even though I've never been married, on their own accords. And to think, why the fuck can my two best friends just not get the fuck along? Yeah, it's kind of like static. No, it's kind of like cold chamber. If you're a musician follower, you know, God, we make great music, we make great videos, we make great merch, but damn, we just can't get along. Kind of like Aerosmith or any other band out there. Fucking Metallica hates each other. So, but my idea is, my dad was always called Peacemaker. He created a lot of chaos and hell, but his road name was Peacemaker. Mine was Slider. Anyways, so my idea is to kind of take what I've learned over life, and my thing has always been like, hey, let's mix this with this. Let's concoct this. See what that does. And if you take two people that love each other and throw in the mix that somebody else is loved, you're gonna have something that is just love. And every now and again you get heads that butt. I get that. But my idea is to say, Mr. CJ the Crusher, the MFP, the motherfucking Punisher, why can't y'all come together for one last ride? One last ride, because quite frankly, there are opportunities. There are opportunities. I don't care if you stand there. I don't care if you. I don't care if you get in a ring. There are opportunities for the triple entente to live again. Okay. Why can't we just all get along? How about this? Why can't we just all make music? Why can't we make something beautiful? Like, if it's not our love for each other, if it's not our brotherhood that we can all share, Jesus, that sounds like Jesus. But why is it that we can't just have a great fucking time like 20 plus years ago? Make a story, make it memorable, and then possibly make it violent. Could be fun, right? However, I do have to say, if I do succeed in getting my two estranged Triple Entente members, my brothers, together again. And they so happen to not get along and can't squash shit. Then quite frankly, I'm just gonna have to be what I always was. The middle, the smarter, the bigger, the brighter, and the more crazy. And if y'all so agree and then disagree, well, I have no problem putting both of you back in your places. One, and yes, this is a shoot interview right now. MFP and CJ, shoot straight from the hip. If you two decide that, hey, we can't get the band together, we can't get along, and meh, 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 well, you want me to tap you out again? Because I have tapped you both out. Remember? You want to get psycho? Okay. However, I want us to be a family. I want us to do this. I want a reunion. I want to get the band back together. I want my right hand man, and I want my big man, and I want to walk the streets going, ain't nobody messing with us, man. Now, that right there, that's just 2 tears in a bucket. In the old school WWF, if you ain't down with that, I got just 2 words for you. Suck it. Guys, share this, like this, comment on this. Quite frankly, yeah, I threw a little shoot real promo in there for my boys and things that can be done and things that will happen. But as you all know, this crazy guy does not give up on his family, on his brothers, on his loved ones, or on life. And you can either sit down or get strapped down. Vader Saber 1984, also known as that drunk guy, and obviously his bullshit opinions. So, lastly, not 1, not 2, but 3. Triple Entente, baby. Forever and always.